People who were workers were suddenly forced to put their residents, people they had grown to love, in a body bag once they died. And they would have to zip up the bag and then wipe it down with bleach. And workers have said to me, the trauma of that will stay with you forever. Before COVID, there were many well-documented problems in long-term care. People were forced to live on an institutional schedule. You would be awakened very early in the morning, usually 6 or 7 a.m., prepared for the day, dressed, taken down to the dining room to have your breakfast at probably 8 a.m. sharp, left to sit in a television room for most of the morning where you would either watch a show or stare at the floor.
It started in about 2015. That's when there was a major event in our lives that indicated that we needed to have some interventions with respect to my wife, Laura. We started seeing specialists, and it became clear that she had dementia. And we lived through that until October the 8th, 2019. She started wandering out the door, down the streets, knocking on doors, looking for her kids. And then I realized I could never leave her alone.
You don't lose your humanity as you grow older. You don't lose your sense of purpose, your self-respect. You don't lose your desire to be part of the world and to be connected to it.
My perspective on long-term care as it pertains to COVID is that we are facing an absolute catastrophe and nightmare.
I was isolated from her for about, I think it started in March, and they didn't let us back in to see her until June.
They're living what a lot of people will call a soulless existence.
We had window visits and iPad visits with families, although that's often problematic for people in the mid-stage of dementia because they don't understand that concept of this floating head on an iPad.
The inability of people to be with their elders, to be with their moms, their dads, their grandparents, their aunties, their uncles, as they have become ill and as they have neared death and as they have entered their final moments. That is the cruelest. That is the cruelest.
Some people will say, well, it's just old people dying. Well, those old people are obviously parents and grandparents, but they're also us.
Family has to be part of the big picture here. And the government's got to recognize that. And I don't think they do. I think that there's so many homes that do not allow essential caregivers.
I think as a result of COVID, we're going to see that there is an entirely lost generation of seniors. That's a really significant emotional trauma that we as a society and individually are going to have to deal with.